Shortly after Jedi Survivor released, everyone was raving about the bounty hunter missions that you can do and how you should get through to the end because something really cool happens. Now I had an inkling of what that would be anyway, so I didn't really care too much about rushing through it, but I also really didn't want spoilers either, so the other day I sat down and blitzed through hunting the Haxian Brood, and it really did not disappoint. Fighting legendary enemies and having boss fights in Jedi Survivor is always super fun as the combat in the game is just so good, and having a wide variety of different enemies along with longer fights and additional lore is always a huge win for me, so I really enjoyed these missions. Now I know you may have seen a few other videos like this from other creators, but I thought it was a really fun topic to discuss and I wanted to give my own spin on it. In total there are 17 bounty hunter missions, 16 of which are against the Haxian Brood, which you have to do first, and they are in order. So the best thing to do in my opinion is to head over to Pyloon's Saloon and speak to Cage once you've met her in the story for the very first time, and then she will tell you the location of a current bounty target. That will then appear as a rumour on your map, so all you have to do is go and defeat the bounty hunter and head back to Cage for the next one. Now these missions will send you to all of the places in Jedi Survivor apart from Tanalorr, and there's a wide variety of different enemy types within the Haxian Brood and some really interesting names, so you can definitely find yourself spending a good 2 hours doing this. The 16th bounty was the coolest one for me though in my opinion, and that's against a bounty hunter droid called Joe the Cannibal. Now the reason for it being my favourite is because there's quite a considerable build up to actually fighting Joe, which is always really exciting and it actually added a lot of depth to the character. Now what was really great is that Joe makes reference to the Jedi Battle Scars novel where Cal and crew blew up the Haxian Brood base, in which Joe claims she was on and actually had fought Cal before, so I think it's amazing to have actually done such a big reference and done it in such a way. Now although the previous 15 bounty hunters are also from the Haxian Brood, this fight against Joe the Cannibal really felt personal and that added a really nice layer to it. So once you defeat Joe and head back to Pyloon's Saloon, as many of you may know, Cage is actually gone, and then a rumour appears onto where you actually pretty much meet her for the first time. And once you head back there, she then reveals that she's now going to try and claim the bounty on Cal's head as he's now worth far more than he was before. Now I really wasn't expecting this at all. Perhaps it was obvious and I'm just a bit of a moron, but I really was shocked as I really liked Cage and I thought it was really cool to have a bounty hunter helping you seek out fellow bounty hunters, but naturally things don't always go the way we think. So you end up fighting Cage and that was also a really fun boss fight to have, especially as Cal and Cage built up a decent relationship in the game for it all to be torn completely apart. Now as fun as that boss fight was, it's what happens after it's over that sent me and others completely wild, and that is the fact that Boba Fett himself comes into the scene. His entrance was awesome and throughout the entire cutscene he felt like the Boba Fett that we all fell in love with many years ago. And as much as I did enjoy the book of Boba Fett, ever since the finale I have been very keen to see him return to his bounty hunting ways and being ruthless, so it was nice to actually get a little bit of that again in this game despite this being set nearly 20 years prior. Boba reveals that he's actually after Cage and not Cal, which I thought was actually pretty cool, and another thing I loved is when Boba made reference to the fact that he's dealt with Jedi before and he knows what they're like and all that stuff, which is obviously referring to Mace Windu in the Clone Wars. Things like that as a Star Wars fan I absolutely adore. The team at Respawn once again took a feature from Jedi Fallen Order and made it even better for Jedi Survivor. The game really is incredible and I was absolutely not disappointed by rushing through the bounty hunter missions. And if you are still here then obviously you do know that Boba Fett appears, but if you haven't done all of them yet then I would highly recommend doing so as I don't think I did it enough justice. And one thing I will say is make sure you are talking to him until you can't do it anymore after the fight and cutscene is over, as there is additional conversations. Now for more Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Star Wars gaming content, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and comment below what videos you want to see next. That is it from me today though, thank you all very much for watching and may the force be with you always.